Go ahead.
Okay, so we are in
Our
Malchus
very
of
own
Malchus.
special Michal Liba.
Okay, first of all, before we get into anything, I think we all really recognize the absolute beautiful group that we have, which has been initiated and been led by our amazing Naomi Greenberg. And I don't know. I have no words to express not just this opportunity these past few years to be doing this with everyone, but your friendship means a lot to us. And I really thank you for that. And this year I decided to do something a little bit interesting. I had started a chat because over the years, I've been collecting a lot of Torahs on, let's say, Tu B'Shvat, and I just said to myself, one of these days, I just have to share it. So I started a chat, and hi bracha, and I decided to continue that through Pesach. And a few people said, "Boy, could you continue doing it?" And I said, "I don't know anything about Pesach to share or the Sfiros, but I'll tell you what, it caused me to really do some research and to learn about it." And Hodul Hashem, I really dug into a lot of different kind of sources, and I did not really prepare for today because Nomi literally called me a few minutes before this call. So I'm just going to share a little bit what comes from my heart, and maybe even pick up this book, Dance the Omer, which we've been doing in our chat, to explain to you the absolute amazing day that we're in today, which is preparing for Shavuos, for receiving the Torah. One thing I just want to explain to you is that we can get caught up in thinking that we are not our queenship, that we are not royalty, but there is nothing further from the truth. Bani matem Hashem, LaHashem, Lev tahor bara li Elokim, Elokai neshama shenasata bi tahorahi. We have a pure neshama, period, the end. So what gets in our way of feeling that feeling? A lot of our negative thinking. We get caught up in our negativity. We think that that's part of us, and it is not part of us. So if you recall back a couple of days ago, and actually over all the spheros, we went through the sphera, through the aspect of Netzach. I'm just going to take us back to that for a minute. Because why? Because Netzach has in the center of that word, the tzaddik. When you remember that pureness, the purity of who you really are, that brings out what's called your chen. If you look at the letters nun and ches and you flip it, it's chen. What is chen? It's your inner beauty. And we cannot lose that inner beauty, no matter where we are, in our highs and in our lows. Look at what Moshe Rabbeinu is doing. He's Ola v'yored. Ola v'yored. He goes up, he comes down. He brings a message from Hashem back to Klal Yisrael. And then Klal Yisrael tells him to say this and that and the other. What is this up and down? Isn't that similar to the Malachim that went up and down on the ladder with Yaakov's dream? That up and down is our lives. And what do we say at that point? We say, Hine makom iti. Even here is where Hashem is with me. Hashem is with us all the time. And not only that, if you listened to what our speaker said yesterday, Rebbitzin that spoke yesterday, she was profound. She said it's the wood that creates the axe that cuts down the tree. The woods itself provides the elements to then create something further. It not only do we cut down trees, but then what do we do with that wood? We either clear out a space for something to use that space, or we use the wood for other things. It's the thing itself. She was trying to explain that it's what we think is the negative, the klipa, our pains and our struggles and our challenges. We're like, just get rid of this. Oh, if only I grew up in this family, if only I had this kind of money, if only I had this kind of house, if only I had this kind of education, etc. But she's saying, no, rather, it is if you tap into your tzaddik, if you tap into, and what's our tzaddik? V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, the rea. You can look at it as reish ayin, the ratzon atzmi, my own wills and desires. You could look at it as the negative inside of me. You have to love that part inside of you also, because that is what's going to bring you to your own geula. You don't have to ignore it. You just have to channel it. We have to uncover and unveil and tap into the beauty that's behind all that, because behind all that negativity are feelings and emotions possibly that we've just not have addressed yet. And it's begging and it's beckoning us to look at it and channel it in a proper way. And then we can do Ola V'Yorei. Going up and down is human conditioning. That's just the way it is. All right. And very quickly, I just want to explain to you. So what's happening actually today in the Sphira? Okay, I'm holding my phone, by the way, so I apologize for the little wobbly here. Okay, so I'm going to take this because I didn't have enough time to really prepare. I'm going to almost do a little bit of just reading at a dance of the Omer by Rabbi Elson. I took a course from him this Sphira. It was really beautiful. I did not listen to his malchus, but I'm going to read what I have out of here. So what he did is he set up a mizbeach at the foot of the mountain, along with 12 single stone pillars for the 12 shvatim. He designated some young men from among the people, and they offered bulls as offerings and well-being offerings to Hashem. Now Moshe took half of that blood and he put it into 2 basins, and the other half he threw against the altar. He took the Sefer HaBris, this book of covenant, and he read it to the people, and it said, "All that Hashem has spoken, we shall do, and we shall listen." Then Moshe took the blood and he sprinkled it on the people and said, "This is the blood of the covenant that Hashem now makes with you concerning all these commands." Okay, now what happens? Moshe and Aaron, Nadab and Avihu, and 70 elders of Klal Yisrael go up on the mountain, and they saw the God of Israel under the divine's feet. There was the likeness of a platform of what's called sapphire, Samech Pe Yud Resh, which is the same letters as Sphira. Okay, and what was the sapphire? It was a clear, beautiful, pure sky. What was written in the Sefer HaBris, this book of the covenant that Moshe read to the people the day before Har Sinai? Okay, what is going on before Har Sinai? What did we receive then? And what were these commandments about which the people said the famous line, Nasa v'nishma? Okay, so there's a midrash that explains that this Sefer HaBris contained the commandments that were given. I don't know, this is something I didn't realize. Given at Mara. Do you remember that story at Mara where they went to the bitter waters and they stopped there after they came out of the after they were wandering for 3 days in the desert and they didn't have water, and they stopped at this place called Mara. So, and they were given commandments at that time. So what was it that they were given? The Gemara explains to us what happened there. Excuse me for 1 second. Okay. These commandments included the 7 mitzvos of Noach, of Bnei Noach. And they had been commanded to keep as well as an additional 3. There were 7 mitzvos and then a 3 additional. 7 plus 3 equals 10. This is going to get really interesting. Listen to this. So the 7 plus 3 almost correlate to our 10 commandments. And we might even ask ourselves, how is this possible? Didn't we receive the 10 commandments anew at Har Sinai? So let me run through the 7 really fast, just so your ears can hear some similarities. Do not worship other gods or idols. Do not blaspheme and curse Hashem's name. Do not murder. Do not commit immorality, adultery, etc. Do not steal. Number 6, do not eat any part of a living animal. 7, establish courts and legal systems. And then, according to the Gemara in Sanhedrin, there were 3 added mitzvos that were given at that time. The administration of justice, Shabbos, and honoring one's father and mother. Very interesting. So we see there's a dynamic between the laws at Mara and the 10 commandments. So what is going on here? Okay, give me a second. The only laws that don't have clear correspondence or counterparts are do not eat a limb from a living animal and do not covet. So we're going to explain why that is and what's the reason for this. And hopefully it will become clear to all of us, okay? So the most shocking thing that all this reveals is that we find that the sages teach that the Jews were given all but one of the 10 commandments already. And Moshe even wrote them down before the revelation at Har Sinai. And they were given all but one, including even Shabbos, 3 months prior at the waters of Mara. So what is going on here? And this is not what we were taught when we were younger, right? So I think the difference here is that At Har Sinai, according to Rambam, at Har Sinai, we were re-given the Torah. But that still begs the question. So what is the big deal then? What's all this fuss about giving the Torah at this time? So this is what has been driven in. This is just beautiful. The answer is that we were not given exactly new commandments at Har Sinai, but what we were doing is we were being transformed into representatives of the divine. We are becoming ambassadors. So what's happening here is we are going panim el panim ta'kadosh baruch hu. We're going face to face with Hashem. We're becoming his emissaries. And that is ultimately malchus. And what we need to do is, not we need, but what we're invited to do is look at this world and to see that we are part or we are of everything. We are not looking at, well, there's this physical and then there's a spiritual. No, the physical represents what's happening spiritually. That's the key. So when we go through life, our challenges, and we look at the world around us, or meet people, or hear words that are being said, understand that that is Hashem working through everything specifically for us to forge a path to come close to Hashem. So may we be zocha to receive new Torah, to receive our new path, for us to take and learn and absorb and receive, because malchus is the shechina, it's the feminine, it's receptivity, where it's real Kabbalah. We're opening ourselves up to hearing Hashem's message anew for this year. And yeah, so again, we're having Shavuos every year. So we could say we already heard the 10 commands. Why are we hearing it again? Because there's something new for us to hear this year, for us to elevate, to reform, to regenerate within ourselves, the kochos that we need to tap into, to understand that we are B'nai Hashem. And with that, I wish everyone a beautiful and wonderful Yom Tov, and looking forward to continuing to grow with you. Okay, kol tov.